And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the 5 a.m. update for Wheelspin's coverage of the Rolex 24 at Daytona 2011. Starting off with the standings in the DP class, number 1, Joey Hand of Chip Ganassi Racing, followed by David Donahue of Action Express. Number 3, Jamie McMurray of Chip Ganassi as well. Number 4, Christian Fittipaldi, Action Express. And rounding out the top 5, Nicholas Minasian of Crone Racing. In the GT class, number 1, Tom Long, Dempsey Racing. Number 2, Tom Sudgen, Paul Miller Racing. James Sofernus for number 3 of TRG. Number 4, Wolf Hensler of TRG. And number 5, Tim George Jr., also of TRG. So TRG holding 3 of the top 5 slots in the GT class right now. I want to make an interesting point here that somebody tweeted this a few minutes ago. 400-plus laps at Daytona is like driving from New York City to Key West, and they've done it in 13 hours. So basically, New York City to Key West, 13 hours is equivalent to what they've driven at this point in the race. We have done 417 laps at this point, 13 hours and 30 minutes and 16 seconds at this very moment. Wheelspin News Time, 5:01 a.m. So, Josh, anything else we want to add in here?
Aside of the fact that I am tired, no, you know, it just goes to show. I mean, there's still a lot of people in this race really pushing. And Brumos Racing has Hurley Haywood behind the steering wheel right now, only 2 laps down from most of the guys in front of him. So I mean, they're in 7th place. They still very well could make it into the top 5, maybe even the top 3. But you know, way to go, Dempsey Racing, for really pulling this race out and really doing a good job, making this a long series, and you know, making this an endurance race instead of a sprint like some of the other guys were doing early on. Speed Source Mazda holding through at ninth place, and you know, I'd like to see those guys round in the top 5. If not, the top 10 would be great for them. But you know, the biggest thing is that, you know, in DP, it's really coming down to Action Express and Chip Ganassi, really proving that they are the kind of the guys to beat in this race. And each one of them has 2 cars, and each one of them is constantly there in the top 4. Crone Racing, you know, rounding out the top 5 is still in this race. But then again, so is Michael Shank Racing. Michael Shank Racing could easily pull something out, and United Autosports with Michael Shank, you know, in 8th place, is not doing too shabby either. And right now we're looking at, unfortunately, Flying Lizard is 16 laps down again. Last time we checked in with them, they were 15, but still, you know, long race.
Absolutely. I want to make a point here. Turner Motorsport, who was able to rejoin the race a couple hours ago after initially thinking they were going to be out because of a transaxle problem, they're back in, and they've climbed a couple more places. Last time we checked, they were 26th for the GT class. Now they're 24th out of 32 cars in the GT. So they're
got to give them a lot of credit.
They're impressive. Bill Arberlin is back behind the wheel for them at this point in the race. So see how things.
This goes to show that, you know, while Turner Motorsport and Stevenson Motorsport, they really had this whole, you know, GT race settled within the first hour. You know, within the first couple hours, they were the guys to beat. So, you know, to see them struggle like this, I mean, obviously it wasn't anything, you know, driver-wise. It was just
mechanical failure.
You know, it's just, you know, stuff that happened. Yeah.
And that really just demonstrate how much an endurance race is a true equalizer in terms of, you know, it doesn't matter where you are in hour 3. You know, that has no relevance whatsoever in terms of where you're going to be even an hour later, or definitely not at the end of the race. So,
Right.
So cool to see this change up. Want to remind everybody, wheelspin.tv/Rolex24 is the full coverage page for Wheelspin. You'll find all of our coverage details there, including our full schedule of coverage intervals. Wheelspin.tv/chat is the chat room. And racing@wheelspin.tv is the email address if you want to send us any thoughts email-wise. And be sure to join us again in 90 minutes for our 6:30 a.m. sunrise coverage. There'll be an hour-long coverage block, and we'll be bringing you into the final stage of the racing as the sun comes up and the racing really kicks off for that final push to the 3:30 p.m. ending time. So we will see everyone back here in 90 minutes for our first coverage of the new dawn.
Yes, see you guys then.
We'll see you guys shortly.